Hi, first graders. Whoops. I am back with Lulu. If you remember, Lulu just ran away, and it seems like her parents might have forgotten about her. So I'm going to start with chapter 5. But Lulu hadn't forgotten that she was going to get herself a brontosaurus. And luckily for Lulu, there was a great big forest not too far from her house. The animals in that forest had never bothered anyone because nobody had ever bothered them. But watch out, creatures! Here came Lulu, trudging through the forest, swinging her small suitcase back and forth, and in quite a loud voice that was sure to wake the napping animals from their naps, singing this song. I'm gonna get a brontosaurus for a pet. I'm gonna get a brontosaurus for a pet. The forest that Lulu was trudging through was overgrown with trees whose branches scratched her face and whose roots she tripped over. But Lulu hardly noticed because she was thinking just one thought. And you know what that was. So she went on swinging her suitcase and singing her song too loudly and annoying all the creatures in the forest and being the same big pain out there that she was back home at her house until. Ooh. There she is. I see a giant snake. Slithering down from the branch of a tree came a long, fat, brown-black snake who had been peacefully snoozing till Lulu woke him up, sleepy and grumpy and hissing an exceedingly nasty hiss. He wrapped himself around Lulu, around and around and tighter, and told her she'd really be sorry that she had awakened him. I'm gonna squeeze you dead, he said. Okay, so snakes don't talk, but in my story, they do. And Lulu said, not if I squeeze you deader. So Lulu squeezed the snake hard, and the snake yelled, ow! And quickly unwrapped himself from Lulu. And Lulu, wiping some snake sweat from the palms of her snake-squeezing hands, went on, trudging deeper into the forest. Chapter 6. I'm gonna get a brontosaurus for a pet. I'm gonna get a brontosaurus for a pet. Singing her brontosaurus in a song in a louder and louder voice, Lulu was waking up nappers all over the forest. Some were annoyed. Some were extremely annoyed. Among the extremely annoyed was a silky, slinky lady tiger who yawned and stretched and rubbed her bright green eyes. And then, with a ferocious roar, sprung out from behind some trees and pounced on Lulu. You're a big pain, the tiger said, so I'm gonna eat you up for my afternoon snack. Uh-huh, said Lulu, I'm bonking you on the head. And swinging with all her might, Lulu bonked the tiger with her suitcase. The tiger yelled, ow! And fell down in a pitiful black and orange-striped heap onto the forest floor. Lulu brushed off a few tiger hairs that were stuck on the side of her tiger-bonking suitcase and went on, trudging deeper into the forest. Chapter 7. As the afternoon turned into late afternoon and then into early evening, Lulu trudged even deeper into the forest. When she felt hungry, she opened her suitcase and took out a pickle sandwich. You guys know I don't like pickles. When she felt cold, She took out a sweater and socks. And when it got buggy, she opened her suitcase, took out some bug spray, and sprayed. She was feeling a little tired, but she kept trudging and swinging her suitcase and singing her song. I'm not going to sing her song again, but you guys can read it right here. Maybe sing it on your own at home if you want. Now, a big black bear who liked listening to music that insects make in the early evening couldn't hear their song because Lulu's was louder. Plus, a lot of the insects were deader because Lulu kept spraying them with her spray. This made him mad. Then madder. Then madder than that. He growled a thunderous growl, and he lumbered heavily down on the forest path and stood on his two hind legs in front of Lulu, waving a big clawy paw on her face. He said, "You're interrupting my favorite program." Please don't give me an argument in my story. Bears are allowed to have favorite programs. So I'm gonna scratch you to pieces with my claws. Lulu glared at the big black bear and put her hands on her hips. "Nobody's scratching me," she told the bear. Then she jumped as high as she possibly could in the air. Then she landed as hard as she possibly could on his foot. The bear yelled, "Ow!" and went limping away as fast as a bear could, limping with one stomped foot. And after shaking some broken bear toenails off the bottoms of her bear stomping shoes, Lulu went trudging deeper into the forest. Chapter 8. Lulu was now in the deepest, darkest, quietest part of the forest. It was getting quite late, and she was getting quite tired. She took her sleeping bag out of her suitcase, spread it on the ground, and lay down to sleep. But before she slept, she sang her song once more. You can sing it with me this time. I'm gonna get a brontosaurus for a pet. I'm gonna get a brontosaurus for a pet. Actually, she never even got to singing the last line because before she could get to it, she was sleeping. I like this. Chapter 8 1/2. At dawn, Lulu woke to the sound of birds calling to one another, and the dusty, musky smell of the forest floor, and the feel of a gentle late summer breeze blowing across her face, and the taste, because she hadn't bothered to brush her teeth before bedtime, of yesterday's pickle sandwich. She also woke to the sight of something so huge, so enormous, so utterly gigantic that she was sure that she was still dreaming. It looked like a mountain, except this mountain had legs and a very long neck and a small head. It was, as I'm sure you've already figured out, the brontosaurus that Lulu had been searching for. There's little Lulu, and there's just its toes. It looks just like the tree to me. Chapter 9. Lulu closed, then opened, then closed, then opened her eyes again and decided she wasn't dreaming after all. She quickly climbed out of her sleeping bag and announced to the brontosaurus, "It's my birthday today, and just in time I found you." "No, I found you," the brontosaurus told Lulu, "and I'd like to wish you a very happy birthday." "Oh, it will be very happy," Lulu said to the brontosaurus, "because you." She patted his ankle, because his ankle was as high as she could reach. "You are the pet I'm getting for my birthday." The Brontosaurus bent down his neck so his face was close to Lulu's. He looked at her back to front and head to toes, sniffing at her carefully with his Brontosaurus nose and making a rumbling noise. Nobody knows how dinosaurs sound, but in my story, they rumble. And slowly nodding and nodding his pin-headed head. A pet? He said to Lulu, after he nodded for a while. It's a very good thing. A very, very good thing, Lulu replied. She opened up her suitcase and went digging around inside and pulled out a white leather collar, which she fastened around the Brontosaurus' neck. Now I'll just attach this leash. She dug some more and found a long, long leash in her suitcase. And take you home with me. Lulu attached the leash to the collar, feeling so pleased with herself that she sang a whole new Brontosaurus song. I got it, I got what I wanted to get, a Brontosaurus for a pet. I got it, I got what I wanted to get, a Brontosaurus for a pet. She would have kept feeling pleased with herself, except now the Brontosaurus was shaking his head. And now, in his rumbling voice, he was saying no. He was saying no and shaking his head till the collar and the leash flew off. No, he said, I don't wish to be your pet. Lulu hated hearing no. She really, really hated hearing no. She screeched till all the birds fled from the trees, and then she threw herself down on the forest floor, and then she kicked her heels and waved her arms. The Brontosaurus waited patiently, without saying one word, until she had stopped with the screeching and kicking and waving. Finished now? He asked politely. Maybe I am, Lulu said, and maybe I'm not. It all depends. And here she shook a finger right in the Brontosaurus's face. This girl was a pain, but she wasn't a scaredy cat. It all depends on whether you stop saying no and start saying yes to being my pet. The Brontosaurus shook his head no some more. Lulu thought about screeching and so forth some more. But instead, she said in a very snippy voice, now listen here. You were the one who said to me just a minute ago that I quote, a pet is a very good thing. That's what I said, the Brontosaurus admitted. So what? Lulu asked. Is your problem, Mr. B? No problem, he answered. Just a misunderstanding. Because when I said a pet was a very good thing, I didn't mean I wanted to be your pet. I meant that you'd be a very good pet for me. That is where we are going to stop for today. We'll have to see what happens with these two.